Over my nearly 2 decades of life, I have been sharpening my taste in cars, and I have found there to be one consistent element, that being I love dad cars, aka performance trims of economy cars. You know what I mean by this. Your Camry TRDs, Type Rs, and GR Corollas of the world. These cars have always seemed to really grab my attention, and I think there are very few strong reasons why I love these forms of sports cars so much. Join me, my loyal subscriber, as I tell you all about the dad car. But first, I just wanted to say something to all of my viewers. I just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, and I have to say, my goal this year for YouTube has been completed in shockingly little time. Thank you all so much and expect more awesome content. But let's get back to the video. One of the things that I think is very appealing about these cars to so many people, including me, is the way that they are realistic. Out of all the fast cars that are out there, with a steady full-time job, most people could afford a Type R or Golf R. And there is something sort of cool about that to me. The fact that there are cars out there that are fast enough to be fun and look very sexy, I might add, is something that is a positive for the car community as a whole. In fact, a car that I hope to obtain one day through this channel is a GR Corolla. It's one of my favorite cars ever made, but let's delve a little deeper into multiple of these different cars. As everyone might know, I really don't talk about Hyundai in any of my videos, because I don't really have an opinion on them. Yet, a lot of really douchey car guys really hate the fact that Hyundai is making cars that can beat most of their own cars. However, the Elantra N is one of the most incredible and exciting cars to come out in the past 5 years. I mean, the guys that made these made a car that can rival these. And that is a bargain. I feel like one of the biggest surprises in the whole car industry is the fact that Hyundai has become one of the leading and innovative brands in the whole world. And they really are putting out a lot of great stock cars. And they really are putting a lot of stock into sports cars. Both the Elantra N and Veloster N are some of the most impressive cars to come out in recent years. While I think the Elantra doesn't look quite as good as the Veloster,
Really?
it still is really sick. Everyone knows Toyota. Everyone knows how reliable their cars are. What if they made sports cars? Well, they did, and they are simply awesome. The Camry TRD is a shockingly fun car. There's something just sick about this thing. The fact that Toyota made a Camry with the sport tune brakes, sport tune suspension, and a custom Toyota catback system, also with the V6, really shows that Toyota just likes making sports cars made for the people. That is also the cheapest way to get a V6 Camry, so hey, there's a great excuse to buy one. Show this video to your mom, I'm shockingly dashing. But what if I were to tell you that Toyota looked upon the world of sports cars and performance vehicles and said, it's time for us to drop our balls all over the market and release one of the most impressive cars at its price range? If you ever thought there was no way a Corolla could be cool, well, you were very wrong. This thing may be one of my favorite cars ever. This beautiful and sleek vehicle makes 300 horsepower out of a 1.6 liter 3-cylinder engine. Turbocharged, of course, plus it's a manual. Plus, it is one of the best looking and best performing track cars you can buy for under $40,000. Yeah, Toyota makes some of the best dad cars out there, but there is only one other brand that comes even close to sniffing Toyota. You know them, you love them, Honda. The Type R. One of the most timeless and famous dad cars in the history of the world. No, like, literally timeless. It hasn't changed in a long time. But when you're a company like Honda, which makes a car like the Type R, you don't need to change much, because it just works. There are very few cars that turn my head in the way a Type R does, because there's a cool factor. Every generation has something to love about it. The 10th gen looks violent and sharp and aggressive, and the newest 11th gen looks so sleek and refined, almost like the previous version matured a little bit. However, the biggest selling point of the Type R is the fact that at its price, you get a manual sports car that is reliable, fun, and able to handle track driving. While the starting price is $44 grand, which I think might be a little bit high, just a little bit, I think the price is probably worth it. The fact that there are people out there that take the WRX over the Type R blows my mind. But speaking of the WRX, the WRX is very confusing to me. It's sort of like the black sheep of the dad car family. Speed-wise, it is sort of underpowered to be in this conversation. And sure, it's faster than 90% of the cars on the road, but come on. 271, sure, it's a manual, and sure, some years it looks kinda good. However, if there's one thing that I will give Subaru, the WRX is very customizable. The amount of aftermarket support for these things is mind-boggling. Hell, there are brands dedicated to only tuning WRXs. I will say, that is cool. However, the WRX is now a car from a bygone era, as 2024 will now be the last year the Subaru makes this car. May we now have a moment of silence. Wow, there are some really ugly WRXs. The Volkswagen Golf R. You know it, you love it. Some people really love it. Like, overhype it a lot. But to be honest, I get the hype. The Golf R seems to be, in my opinion, the best looking hot hatch dad car, looks-wise only. The body shape and style just seems so fun. I can't really describe it. Now, one thing that's always pushed these puppies forward is the performance side. They punch upward. With a whopping 328 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, this is the fastest car in the whole video. However, I have one very bizarre critique. Nowadays, cars have a lot of exhaust tips, and for some reason, this 4-cylinder has 4 tips. Why? This isn't a Mustang, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt because the body just looks so good that, damn it, screw it. I don't care about the tips anymore.
What do you mean by that?
This dad is in every sense of the word a dad car because I don't think I have ever seen someone who isn't a dad drive this car, because it is a mature form of power. Where the Type R and WRX are an angsty, anxiety-filled box of jagged angles and pure rage, the Golf R is the car that is settled down and enjoys his office job. Hell, there are flannel patterns in here, yet there is one car that is kind of exciting to me, the Jetta GLI. While being a little bit slow, it is more of a WRX opponent speed-wise. Being the sport trim of the Jetta, it comes in a manual, which is a pretty big deal, plus it honestly looks pretty good. As someone who doesn't really love VW design, the Jetta looks sleek and smooth. With 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, it definitely can get you moving. The fact that VW still makes cool, fast sedans with manuals is one of the reasons why the car community holds them in such high regard. But man, I've gone over a lot of dad cars here. Let's start to wind this show down, shall we? Wasn't that a fun time? Didn't you learn a lot? If there's one thing you learned from this video, it would probably be that I love hot hatches, especially if it's a manual. So I've decided to be the trailblazer I always have been. That's right, you can call me Vice, the trailblazer on a Friday night. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, I want a dad car, as you might be able to tell. I guarantee you that you probably want one too. Who doesn't want a Type R? Also, by the way, to any of my loyal, beautiful subscribers, purchase me a GR Corolla and trust me, I will personally make it worth your time. You may even get a shout out. Thank you for watching.